Yes, it is, my friend.
And I was so excited for this month.
Why?
I think it's a really good one. Like, I am really, really excited. We prepare these to be timely, you know? And we had a call on Monday with kind of our back room updating us. Oh, that is too distracting.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Updating us as to what was going on and some current market conditions. And we're talking to our investment team. And the content I have today, I am super excited about. I think it needs to get out there, and I hope I hope people respond to it as well as much as I'm excited to say it. So
I couldn't sleep last night.
Well, actually, you weren't here yesterday. You were picking up somebody special.
Yeah.
From the airport.
Yes.
And so you weren't here when I came in early to the office yesterday to prepare. Like, I was like, oh, I'm getting excited. I was here, dropped my kids off at school early.
Okay.
And I'm here. It's just Jerry and I here. I go to make myself a coffee. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get so much done in this time before everyone shows up.
Yeah. And?
I spilled an entire cup of Java all over myself. I ruined some clothes, probably some carpeting in our office. It was a disaster. It was a Java nightmare.
So no Java for Josh yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was not a Java for Josh day. So
now, in the past, I have actually kind of gone like and like slurped the coffee out of my shirt. Did you do that yesterday or no?
Actually, it barely got my shirt, but my pants were drenched. I drove home to change clothes, and like it was like I jumped out of a pool. Like, it was so
that much coffee.
Gross. So
was it a good coffee you spilled, or was it like an espresso pod?
It was an espresso pod.
Ooh, that does hurt.
So
I'm sorry to hear that, Josh.
I'll live. But I always like to start these off with kind of a cute story. And before we talk about your difficult day yesterday, last weekend, if you remember, was super rainy. Columbus Day weekend, Indigenous Peoples Day weekend. We were had a 4-day weekend with the kids. Soccer got canceled. Everything got canceled. And so I was trying to find something to fill the time.
Sure.
And I have had this desire for months now to make homemade baked German-style pretzels to the point where I bought Lye because that was what the recipe called for.
Wait, what is it? How do you spell it?
Lye, L-Y-E.
Ooh, okay. And
it's toxic, and apparently not toxic, or it's caustic or something. And they told me I had to wear gloves and don't let the kids. I was like, ooh, I'm cooking with this, but. Yeah. But I got the kids involved, and it was so much fun. And I have a picture here of my little one, Zach. Zach doesn't smile naturally very often like that, and that was fantastic. I wanted to share. That was our pretzels. They turned out amazing.
Oh, man.
So it was fun to do that. So
wow. Can you talk about the cool design on that slide I made there?
I actually like your slide quite a bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's not talk about the cute kid. Let's talk about the graphics behind there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, Zachy is awesome. That is really cool.
He is awesome. So tell me about your day yesterday, Dave.
Oh, my gosh. You know, a couple times a year, it just gets pure depression in the Schmidt house because, you know, I have a dad. You know, I have a dad.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He refers to himself as Cowboy Mike, and he's here in the office today. Wave, Cowboy Mike. There he is. Oh, yeah. Yeehaw. Giddy up. And so yesterday consisted of me driving to O'Hare yet again to pick him up.
You know, some children would be grateful that their fathers come visit them.
Yeah.
You're like spiteful about it.
No,
and he's
actually,
a delightful human being.
He's a delightful human being, and I give him crap. But here's the thing. Carl and I don't do anything around the house for 3 to 4 months. We wait for him to come in. And like the same pile of crap's in my office at the house, he's going to help me clean it up. Like, it's just great. He's going to power wash the shed soon. It's amazing. He's going to help me build a new coffee bar.
I hope you realize how lucky you are.
I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
Cowboy Mike in the house. Yeehaw.
Well, and he is one of our #1 fans. So that's why that's out there.
He is.
Let's go into what I really want to talk about. Before we do that, we have some announcements. And as always, we start with a compliance. As Brian's sitting here in the room with us, what we're about to go through today is not specific advice, but general information. We are happy to give advice, but that requires a one-on-one meeting. So use it with a grain of salt, this information you're about to get here. So that was that.
Now, if you do get a new pair of Jordans, our man Brian, he wears many hats around the office. He will help you lace them up for free. That's what he does.
I feel like our audience is learning way too many things about you this week. They're judging you, but
no judges. No judges. All right.
Coming up, we have a couple. We've been turning into Social Security and tax and retirement specialist. So we've been doing a lot of Social Security events around Chicagoland. Our last in-person event for the year is going to be at the Glen Ellen Library next Monday and Tuesday. The information is on our website, or they can email the good Michael Sinise. His email is sitting there. And we've also decided, because we have people watching us from all over the country, if you'd like to see a virtual version of this, we are doing 2 webinars the following week as well, or the last week in October. So if you'd like more information, reach out to us, and we'd be happy to get you signed up for those. So,
normally I would have a link where people can go sign up themselves, but it's so far in advance for the Social Security event. I just said, email our buddy Michael.
Yeah,
He'll
that's
take
fine.
care of you. So don't yell at me, Josh.
yeah, well.
I'm telling you after you already bought me coffee, so you can't take it back. So excellent.
So, Dave, a little recap of what Java with Josh is.
Sure. You just need a sip of my pumpkin spice latte. Java with Josh. Josh is a monthly live video show that we stream to YouTube and Facebook. You're probably watching on one of those 2 platforms right now. And really, we had so much demand from people saying, I want to hear more Josh and see more Dave. So we introduced this new live monthly show. And we give our normal banter for a few minutes, and then Josh will talk about something super timely in the financial market world-ish for retirees and those soon to retire. So it is a way for you to learn more about finances.
To some of our clients, you are a polarizing feature, or a polarizing figure. Everyone likes you as a person.
Yeah.
Some people love the banter on these things. Some people despise our banter.
Yeah.
You're all welcome. We love all of you. But we had a client event last week, a trivia night, and you were there, and it was fun to watch all the clients who you've never sat down with, because we don't let you give financial advice.
No.
But come up and just want to talk to you. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
the list of requested autographs has grown immensely. So we need to work on getting T-shirts with my face on it or something. Next Java with Josh.
Next Java with Josh is Wednesday, November 15th.
November 15th. Ooh, that's 8 days before Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday.
7 days before my father's birthday.
Oh, 70. He's 71, right? He's going to be 71.
71. Yeah, look at that.
Excellent.
All right. Before we get going here, I want to remind everybody of the purpose of FSR Wealth Strategies and what our entire team strives to do. And this actually came from the inspiration from this came from my good buddy Dave, and that is giving you the confidence to make retirement the best part of your life. We do a lot of very technical things here in the office, and the pure enjoyment to be able to go out and celebrate that retirement that you deserve is something truly special. And if we can give you that confidence to go out and do that, that makes everyone here in the office feel like they've, feels really good. So I want to go through that.
Good stuff. Love it.
All right. You ready for some fun here?
I'm ready. Yeah. What was the headline for today? What was the topic headline? Do you remember?
It was diversification. What was it?
It was diversification may not always feel good, but it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to go through that. And this is a great year to highlight why that is true.
Okay.
So
I believe you. You're not using my notes. You're using your own notes.
No,
so.
Let me take a swig of coffee and let's get going here.
Should we give a disclaimer that we're both got head colds?
So yeah, we do. So if we sound a little funny, it's truly just the head cold we picked up at some point in time in the last week.
Yeah.
So
cool.
All right. If you have been with us a while, you know we have what we refer to as our own your retirement planning process. And that planning process is something that we walk through every single day with every single client. As a retiree, one of the first times of your life that you can actually control and own your situation is when you retire. And these are the 5 key areas that we talk about. We talk about retirement income. That's where Social Security, where your money's going to come from. Investments and wealth protection. Just because you're retired doesn't mean that you don't want to earn money anymore. And we're going to spend the most time today in that section. Tax planning and tax minimization, always so important. It's one of the things that sets us apart from other advisory firms, that we have that specialty. That is out there. Healthcare, long-term care, estate planning, all go hand in hand, and you can't work with one without working in the other. But today, specifically with diversification, we are going to talk about investments and the wealth protection there. So now, what is diversification? You've heard the terminology, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. That's essentially what diversification is. Diversification is you have no idea what the future is going to hold. And if you rely all on one thing to provide that future for you, you run a giant risk of that being an utter failure. And what happens is as you spread out your risk, invest in a whole bunch of different things, if you will, you can totally lower your risk and keep your return pretty much the same. So, Dave, diversification for us is one of the bedrocks of our investment recommendations. It is, we always say your investments shouldn't be sexy, they shouldn't be flashy. Investments for the most part are boring, and diversification is a part of that. So this is one of the keys that we preach in everything that we do, but it's not fun.
Okay.
And one of the things that Michael Kitces will bring up. Michael Kitces is an advisor out of New York who does a great podcast geared towards other advisors. He says, and Dave, I want to go because I have a really cute slide here. Diversification, if you're doing it correctly, is always having to say, I'm sorry, because you never have the best thing out there. You have everything or a lot of things spread correctly, you're going to have some winners and some losers. You always have winners, but you always have losers. So you're always apologizing for something. And I have two slides in here that I have shown multiple months in a row, and this is one of them. This is our periodic table of investment returns. And what happens here is if you look, this is year by year. Oh, sorry, I'm coming back here. Technology.
Mm-hmm.
What happens here is every year there's different things that perform better. So example, in 2008, the best performers were bond funds and cash. 2008 was a rough year. Go down to 2009, bond funds and cash were the worst performers. Our best performers, or U.S. large cap stocks, lost almost 40%. Future years, they're some of our higher earners. So what happens when you sit with a client, emotions become really, really a big deal. And the news publicizes U.S. stock prices, and a lot of times they're just publicizing S&P 500 or Dow Jones, and that's what you hear, but that's only a small part of the market. And nobody has a crystal ball to look about what's going forward. We have ideas, we have generalities that go out there, and we're trying to lean one way or the other. But people get really upset if you look backwards at that. We look backwards at that chart and we say, "Hey, how come you didn't have me in this last year? How come you didn't have me in this?" And unfortunately, I wish we were that good, because we'd be the biggest money manager in the world. But nobody is. And true diversification is what really matters. And we're going to talk about that here as we go through this. So year to date is a great example. Year to date, the S&P 500, right here in the middle, is up 13%. And what you hear is this has been a good year for the market. Everyone says, hey, the market's done well this year, we should be up. Our second best performer here is non-US equity, so international equity. But everything else has kind of just been okay if you look across the board. So if we were truly diversified, we'd have some portfolio that's done really well and some that's not done so well. But if we take it a step further, so let me go back here a step further, that S&P 500, that one in the middle that did so well, if you look over on the right here, and this is through the end of September, the S&P was up 13.1%. But 11.1% of that came from 7 different stocks. It's 500 stocks. 7 stocks created the vast majority of that return. Those 7 stocks are listed over here. You can see how they performed compared to the S&P 500. Now, you would argue that on a diversification, those 7 stocks are, they're not what you want your entire portfolio to be in, but you do want to own those stocks. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. I'm surprised that our podcast wasn't one of the 7 top stocks.
Well, we're not publicly traded. You can't
Not yet.
invest in the podcast.
Right.
So,
Cowboy Mike owns all the stocks.
yeah,
right.
and that's why that hat looks so good on him.
Yeah, it's an expensive hat.
So, but that is the theory behind diversification. But sometimes when you see those companies soaring, you think, how come I'm not doing as well as that? Does that make sense?
Perfect.
Okay. I want to talk about emotions, and there's no better way to talk about emotions than talking about a preteen little girl. This is my daughter, Maggie. Maggie is the light of my life and the downfall to me as well. I tell everyone I think she's going to change the world. I just don't know if it's going to be Hitler or Mother Teresa.
Wow.
So Maggie is an amazing child. She's super smart, super bright, super caring when she wants to be. And one of her emotions that we suffer with is envy and jealousy. And that comes out, investing is an emotional sport. Investing can be emotional. It's your money. You've worked hard for it. And those emotions can trigger different things. And like my daughter, I want to walk through the emotions that you may have had over the last 20 years and compare it to what diversification feels like. Diversification may not always feel really good, but when you take a step backwards and you look, like my daughter, she may have some emotional breakdowns, but when we take a step back, my wife and I, we look, we're like, she's an amazing little girl, and we're proud to have her. But sometimes you walk through, you're going, oh my God, what am I doing wrong?
It's cool, man, because before you met me, you didn't have this deep emotional side to you. I've brought that out in you.
No, you gave me a heart. Like you gave me a right here. So
That's
that
so sweet.
That was key there.
I don't know if Brian's actually like choking laughing or just choking.
Or sentimental. He's crying.
Yeah, he might be crying. Could be. Yeah.
That's compliant at all. We'll figure it out. So let's talk about what diversification feels like. We're gonna go back to 2000. If you remember, post Y2K, there was this fear in the market, but there was this jubilance as well until 9/11 occurred. On 9/11, our market just fell and collapsed. The S&P 500 lost 40.1% in this time period. The diversified portfolio only lost 15.7%. Now, the logical CPA advisor in me says, we did our job. We only lost 15.7%. But you know what the client feels? They feel, I lost money. They're bummed. I mean, just because the portfolio, didn't lose as much as the S&P 500, they're still depressed about it.
Yeah.
So, and then we go forward here, 2003 to 2007, the boom prior to the Great Recession. Okay, this you're excited because the S&P was up almost only 82.9, but a good diversified portfolio was actually up 87.1%. This is where you're going, oh man, I love my advisor. I love diversification. It worked really, really well. Okay. Now, 08, 09. 08 was a rough year. S&P lost 37%, the greatest recession since the Great Depression. Diversified portfolio, if you did it right, only lost 26.6%. You still are sad. You lost money. 26% loss is a big loss. And you're still upset about it. You feel emotionally drained. Where did my money go? You don't feel good about diversification. Go forward here, 09 through 2019, the greatest bull market in history. 10 years of unprecedented market returns. The S&P 500 is up 351%. Unbelievable. A diversified portfolio is up 219.7. Now, I could tell a client, hey, you did great. You're up 219.7%. But you're comparing it to a pure S&P 500 and you're disappointed. You're sad about it. You're going, hey, what happened? How come I didn't earn as much as my neighbor? This envy, this jealousy kicks in. What's wrong out there? And that doesn't feel good.
No, not at all.
So let's fast forward here. Let's go to Q1 of 2020. We're sitting here. This is the pandemic. We had the quickest 30% drop in the S&P history. And you lost 30.4% in the S&P 500. A diversified portfolio only lost 23. You're still mad. You're sad. You lost money. It didn't work out so well. Fast forward more. The end of Q1, so really Q2 all the way through the end of 2021. S&P skyrockets, makes everything back and then some. Diversified portfolio only up 66. There's a lot of people, if you were a good fundamental investor, you probably stuck it out. But there's a lot of people that said, why am I doing this? My peers are earning, all this great return. You kind of go, oh, what happened here? Why aren't I doing as well as my neighbor? And that emotion kicks in, and you make changes, and you try not to make those emotional decisions, but people do.
You know what that chart reminds me of?
What's that?
Yours and my weight loss and weight gain journey.
It does kind of is that.
Yeah.
Now, the last one here, 2022 was the first big down year since the Great Recession. S&P lost 18%. Diversified portfolio lost 15.5%. You're still mad. You still lost money. You're still upset that we have this problem out there. And when you look, you can see where the emotions, you can see where people get really hung up on this. But this is where the end really kicks in here. If we look and see what actually happened, the diversified portfolio over that time period far outperformed what the S&P 500 did. Because when you limit those ups and downs, you really take advantage of that growth. In fact, what we have here is if you had $100,000 starting in 2000, the S&P 500, you have $388,000. You're happy about that. But if I go over here to this diversified portfolio, you actually have more money and took less risk. So diversification isn't sexy. It's not fun. But the fundamentals of a retirement that's going to last 25 or 30 years, this is one of the keys. This is why this is one of the bedrocks of our philosophy and our strategy. So as we're talking about portfolios and fiscal houses and all that stuff that we talk about with our clients, this diversification really comes into play. And the power behind it is having the right things at the right time. You're not going to own everything. We don't have a crystal ball that's going to tell us exactly what to invest in. It's not Back to the Future where Biff gets the sports scores for the next 10 years. But it's.
I got something to add here, Brian. I have another T-shirt moment. Ready? Ready? Diversification puts the fun in fundamentals.
I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's let the Java with Josh T-shirts.
Copyright it. Dad, you like that one? Is that a good one? He's nervous.
Yeah, I don't even think he's listening.
Is he sleeping?
Yeah,
he might. Yeah.
I have people fall asleep in our workshop sometimes. They usually look just like your dad.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So I told you that I have 2 slides that are identical.
Okay.
And the first one was the periodic tables. This is the second one, and this is the 3rd time I've used this.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, if we were going to give some sort of recommendations of what to do, again, we can't give specific advice.
Sure.
I'm using the same slide for the last 3 Java with Joshes, and they've all been very different topics.
Okay.
So let me show this here.
Sure.
First, don't chase performance. I've said that over and over and over again. I hopefully beat that home today, where diversification is key. We're not chasing performance. We do want to be mindful of your risk tolerance, where that second or the second and third one come in. Have a plan you are comfortable sticking with. That's where risk tolerance comes into play. Rebalancing is always important. But the last one, take advantage of current market conditions. We have been anti-bond in this office for the last 10 years. Bonds can hold a place in people's portfolios right now. I think there might be a good long-term option. Look at different alternatives out there. Now is a great time to lock in these higher interest rates for longer periods of time. So the fundamentals really, really matter. But inside those fundamentals, there's little tweaks and things that we have the ability to do.
Sure. Sure. Oh, was it a cough? Was it a fake cough?
It was a little throat clear that I was trying to not put live out there into YouTube.
That was excellent.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, you made it through without coughing or sneezing, or
I did.
Impressive.
So Brian has turned me on, and I'm a new recruiter. I think I've told him this yet. He's been talking about the Starbucks medicine ball, which I didn't have any idea what it was, and I got my first one this morning. Life-changing. Like, really? I don't know how long it's going to be good for, but I feel the best I've felt in like 48 hours right now. So,
Wow.
yeah.
What kind of drugs they put in that thing?
It's just tea and lemonade. I don't know, and honey. Like, it was great.
So like healthy stuff.
Yeah.
That's just weird.
I know.
You ready for some questions?
We have we have questions.
We have yeah, it doesn't look like anybody has posted anything live yet. If you'd like to, now is the time. Please post your question on YouTube and or Facebook.
Well, as we give people time for posting questions here, do you have any thoughts about what I've said, or do you have any comments as to what went on out there?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted me to give my summarization.
Yeah,
yet.
if you have to, I'd like you to do it.
Because you feel like you like I don't pay attention, but I do. Yeah, so I think if I were to summarize today's show, Josh, it would be sometimes doing the right thing, it doesn't feel good in the moment, right?
Yeah.
But in the end, you're going to be happy. And I can relate to this.
Oh, God.
Going to the gym, man, that sucks. Like in the moment,
it's not fun.
No, I'm like,
there
what?
are people that love it though.
Oh, people are weird. Like Brian, he's weird. Like,
Yeah.
like what am I doing here? This is And I get home like, oh wow, hey, I have energy. I don't need a nap today. I'm gonna eat healthier, so I can relate to that. I would also say that well, again, diversification puts the fun in fundamentals.
Oh yeah, it
right.
does.
But fundamentals aren't always fun, but they always do pay off. And I'm going to say not always, because in your case, in basketball, you would shoot many free throws every practice, but come game time, you would still airball them. So for you,
yeah.
Brett,
but there was less odds that I would airball.
That's true. The odds did go down. So that's my summarization of today's episode.
Last little side note, we talk about it afterwards, but I met someone who knows Coach Prunty yesterday.
Oh, really?
Our high school basketball coach.
Oh, that's cool.
Fun story there.
Good, Jim.
All right, questions. These are pre-submitted questions then if we have no live ones today.
Yeah, we do have a live one. It comes from, you may know him, from Brian Schuzmizmack. And it's it says, sorry, Brian, I love you. Will Cowboy Mike be making more appearances in the future?
There's only so much room for a Schmidt on this show.
Here, we're going to give him one more Zoom. There he is. There he is, everybody. One last Zoom.
Carla, if you're watching, that's your future.
Oh, no. All right. All right. So we have one from Mark T. Is that Mark Thomas?
It might be.
It might be. All right. As we enter the fourth quarter, what do you think the market is going to do?
That is such a Mark Thomas question.
It's my voice too.
So in that same vein where I said, let's not predict the future, but let's have good fundamentals, sometimes it is fun to try and see what's going to happen out there. And we like everybody else, we don't have any idea, but the fundamentals are actually good. The September and August were rough months for the U.S. equity market, but what we're seeing right now from a different analyst is we should finish the year fairly strong. Now, again, this is no guarantee. There's all sorts of uncertainties out there right now, especially with the new war going on. But the fundamentals are looking strong, and I think we should finish the fourth quarter with a positive uptick in the market.
Perfect. Before I read the last question, we would like to encourage anybody who has questions about what Josh talked about today, about diversification. If you want Josh to review your portfolio and give you any advice on what he sees, please book a complimentary 15-minute phone call with Josh. I will put a link in the YouTube show notes, which will probably be ready for you to watch tomorrow. So yeah, Josh loves to talk, and he loves to talk about you. And second, make sure you go to javawithjosh.com and enter in your email address at the bottom of the page so that you can receive all of my fun emails about when we're going live.
They're fun.
They are fun. They're a hoot. All right, and second question. Oh boy, this is a long one.
I've read this question before. I am super excited about this question.
Comes from Andrea P. We know Andrea well. Okay. Wow. What needs to match in order to have a good long-term working relationship with a financial advisor? That's you. For example, should we both like cooking or softball? Are there financial things that should match? How would I know going into it that I'm even close to being on the right track? Should we disagree on some, a lot, not at all? Should I be able to simply obey, follow, believe completely in the advisor? Has this been studied, researched, and what should we have in common or be different? Any ideas? That's a great question.
It's a great question. And when I saw that come in, I actually wrote her back immediately. I said, and she actually, there's more to it. She goes, I know you probably want to answer this on the live, but I wrote her back. I said, that is an outstanding question. We will, without a doubt, go through this. And Your question was actually well worded too. So I want to know what should you look for in a financial advisor? And Andrea is not a client of ours.
Mm-hmm. I think she's come to an
couple
event,
workshops, a couple events,
yeah,
live events,
yeah.
but finding an advisor is really difficult. This is someone who you are trusting with your financial livelihood. And especially for a retiree, when you were working in your working years, you probably didn't worry as much because you knew as long as you kept working, everything was going to be okay. But when you retire, you are relying and trusting on somebody else's knowledge for your well-being. And that is a really difficult thing to get across. So the questions you phrased were very normal and thoughtful. So what I want to talk about are a few things. First, make sure they're competent. And that's the easiest. Just you can check their licenses, check their reviews, ask to talk to some other clients that have used them. Second, make sure that they specialize in your situation. So, for example, we work specifically with retirees, and we want to make sure that the retiree landscape, we know everything there is to know about Medicare, Social Security, all of those things that go into it. But once you can achieve those two, then it is a personal fit. You want to make sure that the advisor you are choosing to work with understands what your emotions are, understands your questions, what's going on in your life, what you're thinking about. Should you trust them blindly? No, without a doubt. You should be able to question them and not have them get angry at you for questioning them. If they truly get you, they will understand your questions and maybe even preempt your questions prior to you even having them. So you should feel comfortable and you should feel good not every time. I'm sure there's going to be moments you don't, but you should overall have a feeling of comfort and safety and that this person you are working with understands you and is in your situation. We always tell people in the first meeting with us that in this meeting, we're trying to understand if you're a good fit for us, and you're going to try to understand if we are a good fit for you. It is a two-way street as that comes into play. We aren't good fits for everybody. That's okay. But we do encourage everybody. Good, sound financial advice, especially for a retiree, can make the world of difference. So, Andrea, I hope that helped, but it is an emotional, and you do want to make sure that you have a connection with the person and the team that will be helping you out.
Great answer. For the podcast listeners, Brian and I had the same thought at the same moment. I wish I had the Full House music right there.
It was. That would have been a great Full House moment.
Full House moment, man. Good job. That was a good answer. I'm a little emotional over here from hearing you.
Well, you had to mute yourself like 10 times to blow your nose.
It's true.
Hopefully next month on November 15th, the next Job with Josh.
Yep.
There will be no head colds in here.
No head colds. Again, before we close this out, any questions about today's topic, book that complimentary 15-minute phone call. Links will be in the YouTube show notes and in the replay email as well. I'll put a link to book a call. And please subscribe to our show on YouTube. Just hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and you'll always see our stuff.
Exciting.
Very exciting.
Dave, I hope you enjoyed this month as much as I was excited for this month.
Yeah. This was a hoot, definitely. Special guests were incredible today.
Yeah, they provided a ton.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, for all your insights over there. And I think, anything else?
No.
Want to end this thing? Brian, you ready?
Oh.